Tim, are we recording?
Tim.
Okay.
Tim? Do we have a memory
We're a little
card
delayed,
or whatever?
Tim.
Tim, did you get a memory card? Okay.
So
I just want everyone to
Does
know.
anyone have a memory card?
Yeah.
I just want everyone to know 10 minutes ago, Tim said, hey, we forgot a hard drive. We can't really record any of this.
And by the way, while he's telling me that, he's holding a fucking Chardonnay in his hand.
And this is our resident socialist.
And just so
Drinking
everyone
fancy
knows,
wine.
yeah, so everyone knows if you're a fan of the pod, this is Tim. Tim, maybe stand up.
Yeah.
So he fights for the everyday man and woman.
Yeah.
And there he is. And then new guy. Where's new guy?
Where's new guy?
Stand up.
Equally fucked up. New guy.
Look at new guy's outfit.
Yeah. Well, new guy told me he's got, what time is the podcast? I go 7. He's like, oh shit, great. I can go to Bootsy across the street. I just made a new friend, the DJ.
Hold on. Maybe Pete's not an idiot.
No, it sounds like he's not. And by the way, no Pete, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Damn, I thought our first event, Pete might come.
Yeah.
Fuck Pete.
Yeah, seriously, fuck him.
Yeah. Put that on the podcast. Okay, so we're back in person.
Yeah.
This is incredible. Thank you all for coming.
Yeah. So much fun.
It's our big first live show back at it. And we have our friend Ian. Ian, welcome.
Welcome,
Thank you
Ian.
very much.
Yeah. So if you listen to the pod avidly, you know Ian. Ian, I call him group chats Naval. He is
I love that, by the way. That's the
That's a
best
hot name.
compliment you could give me.
Yeah, because here's why. You came on the podcast, you started dropping all these gems, and people were like, oh my God, Ian. Did you hear that Ian? That Ian conversation?
Yeah.
And now,
I was like, I was on the fucking podcast.
Yeah, we
Of course
did.
I heard
Okay, yeah. And now Ian is our resident philosopher and crypto expert. You know,
Yeah,
obviously
like Naval.
On and say.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Ironically, you're white and he's Indian. And we got this whole thing reversed here.
so welcome, Ian.
Thank you very much.
And thank you everyone for coming. This is our first run back at a live event. So
Yeah,
couldn't have chosen a better crowd to do it in front.
And special thanks to Casey Kent. Where are you, Casey? Yeah. Thank you, Casey. We are live. I don't know if we're allowed to say, but we're live at Soho House in West Hollywood.
Woo!
That's why it's a secret event.
Yeah.
And we're excited to be here. I think the best part about it is like everything changed like a week ago where you're allowed to not wear a mask. I mean, on my way here, I was having a conversation with Uber, like, can I wear my mask? Can I take it off?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, are you vaccinated? I'm like, yeah. So he's like, you could take it off. And then when I took mine off, he put his on.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's like, you hear about that Delta variant? I was like, yeah, motherfucker. I mean, come on.
Oh my God. He must have thought you looked a little sketchy.
Well, the Delta variant.
You are Indian.
Well, Delta variant before it was called the Indian variant. And for racial reasons.
Oh.
I mean, as an Indian, I would not be offended if it was called the Indian variant because it would be nice to know where the variant's coming from.
I agree. I should have looked out for
you
it.
should
You're
absolutely
Indian. I want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
I would not be offended.
I flew here on Delta. Is that a problem?
Yeah, it's the Delta variant.
You might have it. Do you want to we got to get started. We got a bit of a timeline here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this work from home debacle.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain what happened? I heard you got absolutely lit up in your DMs the other day.
So we've talked about a very handful of things that are very controversial in our years of doing podcasts. Politics being number one.
Who would have thought going to the office was one?
So,
right? Like,
The two things I've gotten lit up about are politics and guns.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Never been more about work from home.
So what do you mean? Tell everyone what you mean in case they didn't
Is
hear
it the home part or the work part?
We're asking the right questions.
It was that I don't know what I'm talking about. Nobody wants to go back to the office, and you're absolutely wrong. And I even got a DM from someone that said, you're such in a bubble. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm never listening to the podcast again. Because I said people, by the way, I'm not this person's employer. I don't control whether that person works from home or works in their office, but they're blaming me for the idea that I'm pushing.
Yeah. And ironically, the only
they
people
think it might spread.
Yeah, exactly.
Ironically, the only people that work from home work in bubbles.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
Just spreading the work from office variant.
You're right.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're canceled. So, I mean, why is this such an issue?
I think people have, I don't think people listen to the entire conversation, which was, we were saying that and by the way, we are employers. So that's our perspective is from being an employer.
Mm-hmm.
And between all our businesses, we have about 100 employees. It is much easier to manage a workforce when they're in person. I understand the world has changed. So we have adapted. There are certain positions that don't need to be in the office.
Mm-hmm.
So we've decided what divisions that can be. But still, I don't believe we can live in a society that you cannot interact with people. And people took it the wrong way where like, I have a family. I don't want to commute ever again. I mean, so I talked about this in the last episode. We have an ad up for Menlo Club about coming back to the office.
Mm-hmm. Canceled.
I got a DM from a marketing agency. He goes, it seems like you guys are a little tone deaf. If there's anything I can do to help you guys, I just want people to dress well to go back to the office. And I'm tone deaf.
This is wild.
That's amazing.
This is so wild. It's just like, what happens? Ian, what's your opinion? Like, my whole thing was never before has something like this been so controversial. Is there a large group of people that are left out, meaning they don't come back to the office, companies hire other people or overseas or whatever? Or are companies forced to change because this sentiment is so much larger than what, like right now we're up here like, haha, you guys are lazy, but we're actually maybe the wrong ones.
Well, so I saw Andreessen Horowitz did their poll of their companies, and most of them, the vast majority of them are continuing to, allow people to work from home. They're hiring remotely, et cetera. My personal opinion on this as an employer is it's really up to the individual manager of the position, right? Because there are some people who can manage remotely and some people can't.
Mm-hmm.
There are some positions that can be done remotely and some that can't. And I think any kind of blanket policy is going to fail, right? And my experience having managed companies that have multiple sites, and the worst is when you have this like locus of people and then there's like a couple of people that are out, they're out. Like good luck with any fucking mobility for that person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it really is, it's pretty hard for anything to be blanket. But I think the other thing that is probably feeding into this is I've talked to two different, and this is anecdotal because I've talked to two different therapists, but both of them have said the same thing to me, which is people are having a harder time with reentry. Like their clients are having a harder time with reentry than they did with lockdown.
Wow.
And I think that's super interesting.
Which part about are they having just interacting with people?
Yeah, the anxiety of kind of going back to whatever it was, like a world that is fucking busy and crazy and travel and.
But isn't it bad to say
that's anxiety?
That's like water cooler talk. They're probably scared of that.
Yeah,
I think but
what'd you do this weekend? Did you watch the Giants game? Oh no! Panic attack!
Cancel.
But it's also interesting. But I think it's interesting to note because you're obviously working in crypto now. That I heard Chris Dixon, who runs Andreessen Horowitz's crypto funds.
Yeah,
and he said, right now we don't even ask where the team's located because we assume it's all distributed.
Yeah.
That's not even a question. In crypto, that works.
Yeah.
If you work at Nordstrom's, you probably have to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's my question
which one. Some of the Nordstroms have no people, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's true. Why do you need even people there? My worry is not to be like tough guy here, but like if it's all just anxiety and like that's scary and it's hard and I get it, but isn't the worst thing we can do to cave to that and to say it's okay, you should stay home then if it's just anxiety? Because like any therapist that you talk to would say you need to slowly approach the thing that you're scared of.
Yeah,
and exposure therapy, right?
I think though I don't want to go back to traveling as much as I was before lockdown. You know what I mean? Like,
shout out to our DJ
I think
friends.
It really depends on what
I talked to Eric.
People feel now like, oh shit, I have a choice.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, if I have a choice, then I'm gonna relax a bit more.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I think I live in Paris, and what I've experienced though is that a lot of people, especially the younger people on my team, they do really want to come back to the office. Because if you're living in Paris in a teeny fucking apartment and you're not seeing anyone ever, you want to get out of there and be with people. And so all through, the last year and a half, we've had people in the office in Paris. People could have a choice whether they come or not. And to be honest, it's worked pretty well. Yeah. But I think what I could say is like some people definitely, want to come back. I mean, our office at Ledger is full.
That's in Paris too.
Yeah, in Paris as well. And people don't have to come. I go less than most people because, because the office is full, and for me to just take up a conference room being on, Google Meets all day is a waste of a conference room.
Yeah.
But lots of people there because they want to be there.
I also think it's the biggest opportunity. I think I said this on the last pod that it's the biggest opportunity.
What's the word?
Propinquity?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Raise your hand if you know what propinquity is. All right. Not a big crowd.
No, but it's the I think D used to always say, I've heard him say this since he started 5-4 20 years ago, like showing up to the office, even if you had nothing to do when he started the business, was so important.
Yep.
Think about how much more important it is now showing up to the office when you actually have a job and your boss is there.
Yeah.
Like it's like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine if half your team is remote and you get to be with the senior person in your company.
And you're going to advance.
And you get to go to, happy hour.
Yep.
Especially because no one else is there.
Yeah.
It's just you and him. Like, what's up, dude?
Just like you want to hit margarita.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared to come in.
Yeah, exactly. And I think people forget that personal relationships actually is what matters most in thriving in your career than actual knowledge or experience or anything. Yeah. I remember so many times I would meet CEOs from all these big brands, and I was like, this guy's the fucking CEO of like a $10 billion company.
Propinquity.
That guy propinquity's dick off.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
Propinquity to the top.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's just a difference that I don't think a lot of people who are embracing work from home don't understand. Like, the world changed. And I get it. People get comfortable from working from home, but the problem is because I got so many DMs and I read them all, and they were fucking essays about work-life balance. Here's the problem with work-life balance. There's somebody who doesn't give a fuck who will do all work, no life. So that's who you're competing against.
And it's just going to create more inequality.
Yeah. And then the guy that wants all work, no life, he's going to be in charge or she's going to be in charge, and you're going to be like, shit out of luck.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Either way, undeniably, there's a large portion of people that are very, very passionate about the topic.
Yeah.
So as employers, does it become then our job to teach them how to reintroduce back into, because like, when there's that many people that pissed off, at the end of the day, something has to give, right? Or all of those people just have no job.
Here's the problem is that normally I would agree with you, but the workforce is now global. And so we can pick, right? Mm-hmm. If people aren't going to come to the office, let's say most Americans say, we'll never go back in the office. Then I'm going to Bangalore and I'm getting a bunch of Indians and I'm getting the smartest fucking Indians you've ever met. Yeah. And that's my staff.
Yeah.
Shout out to Maddie.
I don't know why.
I'm getting... We're celebrating Indian holidays because my staff is from Bangalore.
Yeah.
Because that's what they care about. And that's what's going to change.
Don't you think it's going to normalize? Like this outrage is right now. Because I think by the fall, all corporate America is going to be full in office.
Yeah.
And they're not going to have a choice. You lose your job if you don't show up. Because outside of big tech, which is only going to be 2 to 3 days in the office, 2 to 3 days outside of the office, everyone else is requiring you in the office.
Yeah, I think it will. It has to on some level. I just wonder. I've never seen anyone like this large of a group of people this passionate about something so new, so out of nowhere.
I was reading an article about how ExxonMobil is going to cut 10% of their staff for the next 5 years. Mm-hmm. And they're doing it by like performance review. Mm-hmm. And obviously they know their future. Mm-hmm. They sell oil. So we know where they're heading. But the article was talking about white collar jobs. And so I'm reading about it and they're like, white collar jobs are going to be reduced by 10% over the next 5 years. And then when I read the end of the article, it's literally someone from Bangalore writing the article.
That wrote the article?
Yes. So I'm like,
that's the future.
This is
the snapshot of the future.
Exactly. Okay. So I know people want to fight with me about it because they think I'm wrong, but corporate America and employers have no responsibility to staff. Their only responsibility is to shareholders and investors to make money. And if they can do the same, they can be as productive with cheaper staff globally, they're going to choose that. Yeah. And it won't be my decision. It'll just be what people decide. Yeah. America's capitalism. They allow people to make money everywhere.
I think at the end of the day, it's going to go back to whatever works, right? Yeah. And so I think even on the big tech side, so back in the late 90s, we had a company called Nullsoft that made this MP3 player called Winamp. And we were a completely virtual company. We had no offices at all. That works. When you have no offices and everything happens inside of, at the time it was IRC, but today it would be Slack, right?
Yeah.
By the way, I still type IRC when I want Slack to come up on my computer because I'm old and addled. But that works. But I think what's not going to work is if 80% of people come back to Google, and then you've got this 20% on the outside. It's just not actually going to function.
Yeah.
And that's when things will have to change. Or maybe it will be so virtual that in any one meeting, half the meeting is going to be on video, and then it'll just kind of adapt to that, right? You never want to be the one person on the phone. But for me, even the way we've been hiring at Ledger now, we have people, when I do my staff meeting every day, one guy is in Sweden. 2 people are in LA. One person is in London. Okay, so we're going to be on video as a team, every single day. So it'll work like that. I think. But I think to your point about it being like, it's just going to be, if it doesn't work, then people will either lose their jobs, or they won't get promoted and they'll get frustrated and leave, or they'll get like pushed out because of performance reviews. At the end of the day, capitalism takes its course.
Exactly, and I think the examples that you're also using with Winamp being completely distributed, or Ledger, these are revolutionary companies. I mean, if you work at pick the run-of-the-mill business, it's not revolutionary. So their options are even more like you guys are looking for a very specifically in crypto.
Yeah,
it's so hard to find
that
people.
Talent.
Yeah,
if it wasn't.
Exactly. You couldn't find that talent.
If I could find that talent in Paris, I would have.
Yeah, there's a shortage of talent in crypto first and foremost. And then second, you can actually work from home and track metrics if they're actually doing their job.
Yeah. And by the way, the same thing applies to them as it would if they were in the office.
Yeah.
If the performance isn't there, they go.
Okay, let's move on. But before we do, I just want to do a little experiment. Raise your hand if you agree with Dee's point of view here.
Yeah, you got to go back to the office. 4 days a week.
Right. Decent amount.
Okay, raise your hand if you disagree.
Got it.
All right. Well, I mean, that's also our
Wait,
audience.
who disagrees? I didn't see.
If you disagree, DMD.
Yeah.
This could be like biased because maybe they're applying for one of these companies.
Well, plus it's our audience, right? So they're going to have similar.
If you disagree with D, please post on Glassdoor.
I'm sure it's not pleasant there.
Yeah. Okay, next up. Since this is good news for crypto, Anand, do you want to talk about this Tim Draper tweet? Pretty big news.
Yeah. So Tim Draper tweeted that.
Who's Tim Draper? Just for
Tim Draper's a long-term tech investor. He's been in the game for 30 years.
Got it.
And an investor in Ledger.
Oh wow.
Well, look, we're going to tell you what he said.
So he said, in 2030, who are going to be the most valuable companies in the world?
Okay.
So number 1, Bitcoin. Number 2, Ethereum. Number 3, Coinbase. Great news for me.
Yeah. So if you guys want to drink after this.
Yeah, it's on Anand.
Yeah.
Number 4, coupon.
Yeah.
Free drinks.
But above Apple, right? I think above Apple. It seems like Ledger is going to be above Apple. And
number 9 is Ledger. Number 10 is Apple.
And so here's the interesting thing about this list. When I was looking at this list, one, congratulations, Ian, you're going to be very rich.
Hey, Lucinda, you hear that?
Yeah.
That's my daughter right there.
Head over to the Louis Vuitton store, get whatever you want.
I tried to tell her that the car she could get when she's 16 could be indexed on the price of Bitcoin when she turns 16.
And she's how old now? 14?
14, yeah.
Oh, you're good. You're getting a very nice car. You might get a Bentley.
Yeah.
So I think the most interesting thing about it is Tim Draper is obviously a legendary investor. And this was a Reddit post that happened last year. And it was talking about most valuable companies by decade. So in the year 2000, the most valuable company in the world was Microsoft, then General Electric, then NTT Docomo, Cisco, Walmart, Intel, Exxon, Lucent, Deutsche Telekom. 2010 comes. PetroChina is number one. ExxonMobil, Microsoft, ICBC, Walmart, China Construction Bank, and another oil company. And then number 10 was Apple. 2020, it's Saudi Aramco last year, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Facebook, Alibaba, Tencent, Berkshire Hathaway, and number 10, with not an effective vaccine, Johnson & Johnson. So that just shows you could be subpar and still be top 10 most valuable companies in the world.
You're 60%. That means you're a D, in a grade.
Yeah.
If you're in school, 60% is D.
Yeah.
And you're the 10th most valuable.
That gets you number 10.
Yeah, it gets you number 10.
Not bad.
And so in 2030, when you're thinking about the future, so all kinds of people have put out this list of what they think the most valuable companies are. I think the one thing from this list tells you there'll be one or two people that stand the test of time. The rest are going to be completely disrupted. It looks like it's Microsoft, maybe Apple and Walmart, and that's it. And probably Microsoft and Apple, if I were to guess. And then it's all new companies. And crypto is on Tim Draper's list heavy. What's going on, Ian?
Can I just jump in real quick before we give it to Ian? So Fred Ishram, who's the co-founder of Coinbase, was on Bloomberg yesterday. And it sounds like most of his wealth is concentrated in Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever other coins he owns. Mm-hmm. And he said...
So he's very unhappy today.
No, he's not at all. Because he said, the one big purchase he made in US dollars, because that's how he thinks of things like Bitcoin, crypto.
Got it.
Was a car when he was early in Coinbase, which was like $18,000. He sold some Bitcoin to buy the car. Mm-hmm. He said that today is a $50 million car.
So look, to Ian's daughter, this is what's possible.
She's going to be rolling around at $50 million.
Yeah.
So don't go to USD. I think that's the lesson.
I think that, look, Tim is a believer, first of all, obviously. But I think that it's, and it is, I like the Bloomberg headline that was, to understand Bitcoin, you have to think of it as a faith-based asset, right? So there are sort of believers in this space. But I also just think what it feels like to me is it's 1997 in the internet. You have this thing that is certainly going to impact humanity. You have, just like in 1997, you have believers and non-believers. It's still too early, and the storytelling and the hype is ahead of the reality. And that storytelling is what created the dot-com bubble, but it wasn't wrong. Right. I mean, I remember companies, if anybody remembers, a digital entertainment network here in LA, which, by the way, somebody should make a documentary about, because it ended with like white tigers and pedophilia and somebody getting caught in Thailand 7 years later. But we all laughed at that company when it imploded. There was another one here called Entertainer, this guy, John Taplin, like super visionary. But people were like, Cosmo. I mean, all of that stuff came true. 10 years later, it became, oh wow, Netflix. Nobody's laughing, right? And it's that same sort of thing where it is real. In will Visa International be disrupted? Will the banking system continue to be disrupted? This is nothing new. When I bought my first used car, I went to the bank. Now a website where you buy your car gives you your loan. When I got my student loan, I got it from Wells Fargo. I didn't get it from earnest.com, which is where someone's getting it from today. Wells Fargo doesn't even do student loans anymore. Yeah. So, so you just have to kind of ask, will we have digital cash? Yes. Like when I go pay cash at the local bodega, when I pay Apple Pay, does Visa need to be in the middle of that transaction? Like, absolutely not. And we know what happens to people who don't provide value in the value chain, right? Yeah. Over time, that disappears. I mean, digital cash is technically possible today, and that that will happen. So I think but the question is just like, what is the timeline, and how long does it take? And, what are the predictions that we can make? I mean, I always, think about the fact that in 2002, I had the point of view that the music business would become subscription and it would cost, somewhere between $5 and $10 a month, and that the music business would continue to decline until you got to sort of 70 million subscribers and it took off again. And that was a really unpopular view. It was sort of like me, Dave Goldberg, Mark Geiger were the only people I knew who held that point of view. And most people were like, shut up, kid. You don't know what you're talking about, right? All of those things turned out to be true, but there were lots of things that we also couldn't have predicted. I couldn't have predicted that it would be a company in Sweden with a green logo that would, be meaningful in subscription music. We couldn't, even in 2007, you couldn't see that the iPhone was coming in 2008. So I think it's the same sort of thing. I think you can predict, the general shape, but there will be things that come at us here that you're like, wow, where did that come from? Like, who would have thought that would be the company? When Spotify came along, Rhapsody had been around since 2000. We did Yahoo Music Unlimited in 2005. Virgin had a subscription service. Like when Spotify came, everyone was like, these guys, are you serious? Like, come on, you know? But, they're the right thing, right time, started in the right place, had the right ethos, did the right deals with mobile carriers. You know what I mean? I think that we can predict that, these big things, there will be digital cash. Banks will continue to be disrupted. Decentralized finance will be meaningful. People will have, custody of their wealth. But I think that really I get asked obviously all the time, and the honest truth is I have no fucking idea. I don't have a crystal ball, but I can tell you that digital assets are real, right? We have the ability to have digital scarcity. We have the ability to custody our own assets, even if that's a stable coin, even if that's a digital US dollar. We have the ability to hold it in our hand in a way that we've never had before. Mm-hmm. And that's real and isn't going away. We have the ability to have kind of proof of attendance. Everybody here tonight could get an NFT, and that could give you access, to something, in another arena. That stuff is very real, and there's zero danger of that coming. And I think that whenever somebody asks you kind of about the current price of crypto, you should instead go, let's just talk about this. Is the US dollar the reserve currency of the world in the same way that it is today, 10 years from now, 25 years from now? Mm-hmm. And what's going on with the yuan in China, and will they have success, using that as their, trading instrument with Asia, and then push that through the Belt and Road? And what does that mean for the dollar? Like, that's a much more interesting and existential question than, is Bitcoin going to go up or down? Yes, Bitcoin's going to go up or down. Yeah. It's going to go up and down. Yeah. I promise.
We like it to go up.
No, but I don't feel too good about that answer, Ian.
I think that's
one. I like the to the moon.
I think that's a very good point that Ian made.
Diamond hands.
It's basically like, just think about it broadly. If you are a different country other than the United States, is it smart to diversify against the US dollar? The obvious answer is yes. Mm-hmm. To be fully dependent on one country.
Yeah, I believe in China.
Is that the question? I'd buy lumber.
Remember when do we need the anthem to go?
At our last live event, Dee marched to the Chinese anthem across the stage.
And I'm alive and well.
And then all of a sudden, we were shut down for a year.
I'm with the right team.
Uh-huh.
They usually win.
Got it. Okay, well, so the ending word there is, don't be nervous.
Dollar cost average.
Diamond hands.
Dollar cost average is
never worry.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm selling nothing.
Okay.
I've lost 90% three times.
Yeah. Okay. Diamond hands.
I have to say, and I'm increasingly excited about the Ethereum narrative. And I think, like, if people haven't listened to, Justin Drake talk about ultrasound money, even just as an intellectual exercise, it's really exciting. I went to Bitcoin Miami a couple weeks ago.
That looked like a shit show.
Yeah, what was that? That didn't look like
a guy running on stage with a Doge shirt on.
It was. To be honest, I went to the show for all of 45 minutes, and I was like, oh, I'm good. Yeah. And I went back to the Soho House and had more meetings, and I had a great weekend because I got a lot of business done.
Yeah.
You know, but I also think, you know, we have a ECC, which is the big Ethereum conference coming up in Paris.
When's that?
In the middle of July.
Ooh.
And I just think it's, you know, it's I think a lot of people are, you know, we're paying attention to kind of more than one narrative in this space, right? There's, you know, the Bitcoin narrative, there's the Ethereum narrative, there's Solana, Cardano, Polkadot, you know, Tezos. Like there's a lot of really exciting things going on. Just like if you're playing the stock market, there's a lot of exciting companies to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And kind of, you know, get your head around why do they exist? Will they exist tomorrow? You know, and if nothing else, just intellectually, it's incredible. And you can go listen to 5 interviews with Vitalik Buterin, and he's, you know, I mean, talk about Naval. Like the guy is extremely thoughtful, and he's in this for more than, you know, just to turn a dollar. You know, he's in it to. He knows that this will impact humanity, and that's the thing I want to point out. In 1997, none of us thought, oh, this, you know, even those of us who thought this internet thing is going to the moon, none of us thought this internet thing is going to elect Donald Trump and cause the UK to secede from the EU. Like none of us had that on our minds, right? And so the internet has affected humanity in ways that we couldn't have predicted, and this will too. So I really, like, what I would do is, like, you know, buy what you can afford to lose. You know, but buy so that you can play the game, and then pay attention to the narratives, because you're going to learn. You know, that's why I took this job, is because I wanted a front row seat. Right? I'd rather play in the Super Bowl than watch the Super Bowl. And I wanted a front row seat to this change that is going to come to humanity. So I would like, you know, again, buy what you can afford to lose, and then, but like, pay attention to the stories, because it's going to be an amazing next 10 years.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you heard it here first.
Yeah. I like to watch the Super Bowl.
You like to watch? You like to watch it on TV, actually?
No, I just need to have good seats.
You have jerseys.
Yeah, I wear a jersey.
Okay. Good point. All right. Moving on. We got to give props to the place where we are.
Yeah.
Soho House filed for their IPO.
Yes. Woo!
So I'm guessing the next one of these we probably get paid a bunch to do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how that works, right?
So
our price went up.
I got an email, and it said, "Yeah, you know, we're going public, and if you're interested, I think Morgan Stanley's doing the IPO. As a member, you can purchase shares."
Wait, so I should look at my spam folder?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an offer in there.
Oh shit.
So then I started, you know, obviously I started searching what's happening with Soho House. And we knew they were going public. We talked about it on the podcast a few months ago. And I think similar to, there's like a pandemic kind of like revival crew of companies.
Yep.
So I've seen Revolve, our friends at Revolve being a part of that, like events, just people going out, they're going to thrive from it. Hospitality, we know, is going to thrive. And Soho House kind of fits both.
Yeah.
Where it's like a lifestyle and hospitality. And you see, so their membership actually increased last year by 5%, which is insane.
During lockdown?
During lockdown.
People were just like, I'm just planning for next year?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can get in finally, so I'm going to pay the membership.
Okay.
And so they have that. Net revenue total was down substantially.
It's okay.
Because they were closed.
Yeah, they were closed. Yeah. I got a lot of credits that I got to use, which is great.
Yeah.
But companies like Soho House and companies like our friends at Hwood, they're going to see like the most insane resurgence.
Yeah.
And it's going to be immediate, right? It's happening live.
Because I was talking to our DJ friends in the audience, and they were saying like every nightclub is just fucking insanity.
Yeah.
Like I feel like people are just puking and fighting and celebrating. And
you don't have any drinks you have to do to puke and fight? Which is good for
revenue. It depends on what your alcohol intake was over the quarantine.
And my guess, it was very high for most.
All right. Business.
You're coming in for 35 drinks.
Yep. And you're going to puke and fight somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
so
I think
good for business.
And I think a company like Soho House is going to benefit so much
Yep.
from the resurgence.
You know, I did was on stage with LVMH thing last Friday morning, and they asked a question. And my answer was, I kept saying all through my time at LVMH, the more time we spend on our phones, the more valuable and the more premium in-person experiences become.
Yeah.
So we just spent 15 months shut in, and we're not going back to work. So
of course, there's nothing to be up for in the morning.
But if you think about
Soho House is not the office.
if you just think about it a little broadly, like it's the most genius business model. You make people pay membership fees. That's 100% margin.
Yeah.
And then if they come in and occupy real estate, then
and they're going to spend money.
Yeah, they're going to spend money.
Yeah, you guys know what you're doing over here.
And I think what Soho House is done an incredible job of. It's like truly a all-encompassing lifestyle. Like I speak to friends here who pretend like they're working upstairs all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, I'm working." I'm like,
Yeah.
You're looking over all of LA and you're really working hard.
Yep.
But do you have those people? You have people having meetings. You have people having lunch. Then you have all their hotels across the world. It is, and here's the challenge: is that it's such a benefit for Soho House. This obviously caters to the 1%, and that population is getting larger, and they're going to spend excessively more. And all of their locations are perfectly situated to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
I would suspect it's the perfect time to go IPO because their numbers are going to be bananas.
Bananas for the next 2-3 years. It's gonna be,
but don't you think maybe it's almost early? Like, don't you think like,
that's what I was going to say.
After you show this year's numbers, you could just be like, we're literally worth trillions.
Yeah. I mean, these people have endless amount of money. They're going to keep spending till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, no, but that's great. Good timing. And so now, I mean, I guess we probably should just ask, but like, there's going to be a lot more Soho houses, or like, how's this?
Yeah, I mean, everything you read, there's locations opening up all over the world.
Soho House Paris in September.
Oh, wow. Hot. Where in Paris?
It's in the 9th.
Nice. Trendy.
Yeah, right. So kind of just below the 18th. Like you come just down from like Moulin Rouge. It's right there.
Wow.
Okay. Well, congrats to Soho House.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Maybe next live event, Soho House Paris.
Yeah, I prefer Soho House Paris as the next event.
Yeah, come on through.
Yeah. Next up, we talk about Netflix a lot, and all the content that they put out, and how much they spend, and just everything that they're doing. They just did a massive deal with Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
What's interesting is Steven Spielberg shitted on Netflix when they came out and said, and he was like, "You don't get the full movie experience at your home."
Well, look at you now, Steve.
Blah. Like, I want to watch a movie in a fucking cold ass theater at the Grove.
That's my dream. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Anand loves movie theaters.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait till the movie theater opens back up at the Grove.
It's open.
No, the theater is actually closed.
What do you mean?
The Grove.
At the Grove.
It's Pacific. Pacific went out of business.
Well, that just tells you everything.
They didn't have a meme stock.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's the problem. So Steven flipped. He saw the bag and he's like, you know what? At home isn't so bad.
I just can't believe like a guy like Steven Spielberg who shitted all over Netflix.
Yeah.
And said it doesn't give you the full movie experience, is now signing a deal where he has to put out a few movies a year.
The bag? Netflix. You can't turn it
by
down.
the way,
why does he need the bag? If you think about Steven Spielberg's got to be worth $3 billion. I have no idea what the number is. Something crazy.
Add another one. Why not? He doesn't need the bag.
I think it's more
like out of just principle.
No,
you shitted on this medium. Just sit it out. Do you need another $1 billion?
No, I think he has ideas of movies he wants to make, and there's a handful of people on earth that can finance it. Netflix is like, you want to make movies so 17-year-olds can watch on a cracked iPhone? We got a bag for you. Because that's how that shit's going to watch.
I'm sure he's got some deal where it has to release in a certain number of theaters.
Sure. Just to make him feel like he didn't completely shit on
and they were like, we're at the Grove in Pacific Theaters.
Yeah, we're at the Grove.
By the way, it doesn't exist.
2 days. Yeah.
For 16 hours. I just can't believe. I agree. I think it's like insane after all the shit he talked about Netflix to do movies with them.
But how good must that have felt for Netflix?
He should probably give an apology.
I would like to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think that is fair.
If I was Netflix, I would have put that in the contract. Here's the bag. you say sorry.
Maybe
Maybe they just give him a bag.
You what you say?
Like a Ralph's bag.
Yeah.
Say it with the Ralph's bag.
This is no different than what Amazon did with logistics and warehouses, where they just spend billions of dollars acquiring all this talent and then cash flow the shit out of them. And I don't think content creators get that.
So my question is, does this start to rapidly take away from the quality of movies that you get exclusively in theaters, which is already a tough sell? Like, do we see a rapid decline because all the talent is going to streaming?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the budgets are still the same. Netflix, Amazon are willing to pay endless amounts of money for the best talent.
Like, do we get another Dark Knight?
Steven's busy.
No. I mean, we're more concerned about Fast 10.
Honest question.
It's 9.
It's 9.
I know. I'm talking about the next one.
Honest question. What was the last good movie Steven Spielberg made?
E.T.
That's what I was going to say. E.T.
That was in the 80s.
Was it the 80s?
That's exactly my point. I couldn't name another one. Like, there is one, I guess, right?
What are they? I don't know. What can someone give me one?
Saving Private Ryan.
I don't hear anyone shout out
Saving
movie
Private
titles.
Ryan? I mean, everyone's done a World War II movie.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Okay.
Jurassic Park's hot.
Yeah.
All right, never mind.
Jurassic
Never
Park.
mind. Shouldn't have asked.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park. Okay, that was.
I like
even
E.T.
I could only come up with E.T. and I was like, already play. The book was great.
The movie was good. I watched
the
it.
movie on a plane and I was like, nah.
All right. Well,
I thought
listen.
the book was good.
Steven's got to eat his words. Sorry, Steve. Okay. Well, here we come to the we're about to be canceled section.
Yes.
Oh wow.
I don't know why you guys put these two
Hey, I gotta
stories.
go, guys.
Yeah, you might want to actually, guy. You can choose. You
This
guys,
one I'm very excited about.
you guys put these two stories
Listen
back
up.
to back. I can only imagine D grabbed these topics,
Yes.
and it's our last two topics of the night. And I already feel nervous just looking at them on my phone. So they're under the category of sports, but this is not sports. This is the last episode of Group Chat, I'm guessing, after this. Okay, first one. New Zealand weightlifter. You don't know where this is going, do you?
You have no idea where this is heading.
To become the first transgender athlete at the Olympics. All right, you guys take it.
Okay,
So we're talking about a weightlifter, though. Just to clarify.
Laurel Hubbard.
The first athlete is a weightlifter?
Can we get Tim a mic?
Oh, I had him get one just in
Okay,
case.
I'm staying out of this, so it's D and Tim.
Yeah,
You guys
All
take
right.
it.
How's it
It's
going,
a
dude?
showdown.
you guys all.
Oh my
Look
gosh.
at this.
This is gonna be good.
This I got
Oh,
fans.
man.
So Laurel Hubbard decided to become a woman,
And just so happened to pick
conveniently
weightlifting.
decided
Sure.
to sign up for the Olympics in weightlifting.
Well, weightlifting. You chose weightlifting. You chose the one thing.
So all I was thinking about when I read this article was I was thinking about Al Bundy.
That's what comes in your mind?
Excited to hear.
Al Bundy? You're thinking about selling women's shoes?
Yes, Al Bundy in his show Married with Children would always talk about his high school football game. I think there are millions of Al Bundys who knew if they could become a woman, would go and compete professionally in their sport. And I think this is opening a can of worms for sports that can never, ever.
Yeah.
Be closed.
I already see your DMs tomorrow.
Yes. So here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with changing your gender. We accept that as a society. That's fine. But when it comes to sports, historically speaking, I think Serena Williams or Venus Williams played a 500th ranked tennis player that was smoking cigarettes and beat her pretty badly.
Is that a fact?
No, so what happened was
Not far off.
Serena and Venus said they could beat any man outside the top 200 rankings. And someone who was like 220 or 230 just beat them pretty comfortly.
And he was
Like 6'2",
pretty much like
6'1".
smoking cigarettes and stuff.
Did he make up the cigarettes?
I thought maybe he was a smoker.
You're telling me he was smoking and beating Serena?
I'm not quoting the cigarettes portion of this part, but a guy outside the top 200 basically beat, I forget if it was Serena or Venus, it was one of the sisters, and beat her very comfortably.
So my point is that when it comes to sports, there's clearly a physical thing that there's a difference. You can't figure that piece out.
I believe we'll have to lean on Tim here.
I'm on standby.
But I don't think you can even say that.
So then in that case, if I was a man that cared about sports so much, then you should all change your sex, enter the Olympics, go professional, and be the best at what you can be. Because you have a better chance. Like 1,000 ranked tennis player would probably be a top 10 women's tennis player tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's just reality. It's just physical. There's a physical part to it that like.
I have a personal story here that I didn't want to speak in this part.
I was going to give you the option.
But you're inspiring me.
Yeah.
Because I have to say, like, I'm a runner and I've run a lot of races, and multiple times I have finished with the first woman.
Yeah.
And I'm okay. That's where I'm at, right? And what I did CrossFit for years, and they had sort of the weights for the men and the weights for the women. I would do the women's weights. That was really much more appropriate for me. I was, a relatively strong woman. That was like the level that I was, the other level that I kind of got to.
You're comfortable with being a strong
woman. The level that I got to in CrossFit. So what you're really asking me right now is, how bad do you want it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's...
How bad do you want it?
No, but like at Barry's boot camp, they say, the strong band or the low band. I always go low band.
So you're a strong ass chick. You know what I mean?
And even in golf, there's a women's tee length and a men's tee length. So if you're like dying to be a champion, become a woman.
Do we need 2 more categories then?
Yeah.
For transition.
Yeah, like and then in the middle.
Yeah,
I think that's fine. Adding another category, it's just not fair for the women who like worked their whole career and now they have to play a guy in the Olympics. That's fucked up. It's not fair.
I'm too scared.
Tim? I don't have the...
If I had a daughter and she was about to be in weightlifting and this dude shows up, fuck that.
Listen.
I'd be like, my girl did all this shit and you just decided to be a woman?
Yeah.
I was pissed.
Hey, I'm relying on Tim. I have no comment.
Tim, does this seem totally...
Tim just turned off his mic.
I'm going to go into this with some scissors later.
Yeah. We need do some post-production.
I think we're doing the drama. Moving on.
Yeah. Do you want to comment or no? Does this seem totally fine?
I think my comment would be that it would be unfair for someone who is transgender to be excluded from the Olympics based solely on their gender. So I think that's the alternative, and I don't have an answer, but I think there's a...
I get that.
Moving on.
No, that sounds
moving on.
We can edit it.
I think the problem is that vice versa doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's not fair. It's not both ways. It's not. If it was an intellectual thing, I'd be fine with it. Because I don't think men are smarter than women or women are smarter than men. It's just whoever's the smartest.
I'm like 90% sure there are studies that women are smarter than men.
That's fine.
Tim's gender biased.
Yeah, you are gender biased. You piece of shit.
All right, well, men of microphones.
For the sake of dancing around this topic, I guess we'll move on. But
you guys are dancing. I'm ready to.
This might be the last dance.
Hey, it's a good 6-part series. It did well on Netflix.
All right. Okay. Well, there you have that news. We're just here to report the news. And next up, as if we don't need to just put a little cherry on top.
Yeah.
I'll let you take this one also because it's your topic, but and also sports. But I saw that an NFL star, is he a current star?
Current star?
Carl Nassib.
Nassib.
Sorry, it shows you where I stand. Came out as openly gay.
Yeah.
And this is interesting to me because I think a lot of other people have done this after they're out of the league. He's currently a star and made this move and came out. What's the reaction been? It feels to me like times have changed and people are like, cool.
He has the #1 selling jersey in the NFL today.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And he's a real player. This isn't like Michael Sam, who was the first that came out.
That's what I was thinking of, yeah.
Michael Sam, he didn't make the team.
And then came out after, right?
No, he came out before, but he just didn't make the team. But this guy's a real player. This isn't like some like
Is he
fourth string guy.
Is he the first NFL player that's currently like a star to come out?
So he signed I looked it up, 3-year, $25 million deal with the Raiders. Obviously, it's been well received. I've seen like I went on all the comments to look, and because like we know football fans, what their views are.
So not even the fans.
I mean, it may be edited, but it looked very positive. And
I'd be shocked if NFL fans are unanimously supportive.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect it to be unanimous, but I think it's a West Coast team, so that helps.
Yeah,
Raiders. And look, there's no secret. Warren Moon came out the other day, or even today, I think, saying that I played with a lot of gay players. They just never felt comfortable.
Yep.
NFL, basketball, I mean, just in life, there are people that are openly gay.
Yeah.
And I think the NFL being shockingly the trailblazer here on this topic is actually really good for the country, because that is the most masculine, that is the sport where I think you need the most mass acceptance for America to feel comfortable with the topic. I mean, most NFL fans didn't accept Colin Kaepernick kneeling. So this is I'm glad for the conversation. It's a white player.
Why, you think it's easier? Like
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
If it was a black player, it would be a very different conversation. But it's a white player that's got a big contract and he's on the Raiders, which is like probably, when I think of the most masculine teams in the NFL, I think Raiders and Steelers.
Yeah.
That's who I think are the most masculine teams. So I think it helps that he's a defensive player for the Las Vegas Raiders. I think that makes a difference.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously it's a positive step. I'm just curious to see how other players react.
Have other players like posted and stuff in support?
Yeah, they've all posted in support. I mean,
I actually liked that it was the older guys. They were the most vocal, like Bo Jackson, Warren Moon. These are guys from like the older generation. They were the stars from like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
They were the ones that I saw most in support versus like current players, I think are more hesitant. I know Saquon posted and a few others, but it was definitely the older generation that was embracing it more than the current generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sure it's got to be tough in the locker room.
Yeah, but you know what I was thinking is, don't you think that, like, I mean, we know some athletes and stuff like that, and like they know of other players, like you said earlier, that are gay that just don't talk about it or haven't come out. So I even feel like in the locker room, it's like, who cares? You know what I mean? Don't you think? Do you think anything really changed? Like,
I mean, I would assume that for young people, it doesn't matter.
That did it. That was too much.
Yeah, you couldn't handle it.
We crossed the line.
Yeah. But I think for a lot of people that it's still like, think about football. Like, where is it popular? Where does it come from?
Yeah.
It comes from like the heartland of America. And that's still a very, very difficult topic for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's so strange.
They're just not ready to accept it.
Yeah. But I think it's weird that it's still a difficult topic, because I think it's overwhelmingly in polling that gay marriage is accepted. I think it's like 70% of the country.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it only feels...
70% of the country's gay.
No, 70% of the country's acceptance of gay marriage.
Yeah. Okay. Your stat. That's the one. That will be the title for the episode. Okay.
And 10% of the country is LGBTQ.
Yeah.
10 to 12, I think. I just Googled it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you think of a locker room, there's 53 players.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Like, I don't mean this in a not sensitive way by any means, but I don't even think this like will be news like in
It shouldn't be, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it's like, yeah, okay. Like,
I mean, the fact that he's the number one selling jersey after one day.
Yeah.
I think it actually helps business, because it also means that feels more of an opening for the sport, where like people who would never watch football, they find it.
What's going on if they go play the Saints in New Orleans?
Why? Because their Saints are religious?
No, just down in the South.
So they're a bunch of Saints?
They're a bunch of Saints. They're
go down to Louisiana and play the Raiders.
I mean, I have to believe like people in the crowd are like yelling crazy.
I mean, we've been to all big NFL games. We know what the people in the crowd are
exactly. That's why I picked an area that, might not be as accepting.
New Orleans, huh?
I want to say Alabama, but they don't have a professional team.
Okay, well, we'll see. But I don't think it's really, I think literally a week from now, it's like not even just totally norm.
Well, I think what it could do is also cause a chain reaction amongst other sports.
Yeah.
Where other players would come out.
Yeah.
And I think it's good for the sports. Like they're all struggling to find an audience.
Yeah.
So why not make it more welcoming for all people?
Yeah, I agree. Okay, that is we navigated that. I was sweating a little bit.
Yeah.
When I saw those two topics, I'll be honest, I read the topics late and I was like walking up here and I was like, oh God. Do we want to do Scene on Social? I don't have one, but do you guys have one?
I have one. I saw NBA ratings are way up. TNT, ABC, and ESPN, which is up. This is through the conference semifinals, up 39% from 2020. 2020 was probably a down year anyways because of the pandemic. But Game 7, Bucks at Nets had 7 million viewers.
That game was incredible.
That was incredible.
Hawks at 76ers had 6.2 million viewers.
Also amazing.
Also incredible, yeah.
Both of those are the most viewed playoff games of the season. And global viewership on NBA League Pass is up 22% from 2020.
We're back.
We're back, right? I mean, so we don't need LeBron.
Hey,
they might need
it. Whoa, don't shoot
wrong
the messenger.
City.
Hey.
Go back to Akron. It's wrong city.
Also wrong city.
I mean, if LeBron transitioned.
Oh, geez. Okay, on that note. Anna, do you have a Scene on Social?
Yeah, I've seen on social. So Blackstone, one of the biggest investment funds in the world.
Yeah.
Has started buying single family homes to rent. We've talked about this a little bit before. This is similar to what they did in 2009. And I think the larger point is they're betting on political dysfunction, meaning because they believe that politicians won't permit expansion of housing.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So that they can just buy single family homes and extract yield from rents. So that's actually kind of sad because they're just like, we know politicians won't realize like not my backyard is like the dumbest policy of all time. Like just let people build housing so people can live.
Why? Sorry for the stupid question here. Why do we clamp down on letting people build houses?
I haven't heard a intelligent argument.
Is it like more of a one party thing?
It's more of a local politics thing.
Like meaning like we don't need more like stuff?
No, because it's current large landlords that are prohibiting new land.
Exactly,
like we don't want
right?
construction. We don't want
because the establishment makes more money if they're the only housing option.
Yeah.
So Blackstone is spending, billions and billions of dollars saying like, we know you dumb idiots aren't going to allow more housing, so we're going to buy it all and just rent it for more.
Is there any lesson here we can take from that before we end?
Yeah, rent your house if you live in the suburbs.
Yeah.
That's it. Put your house up for rent.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything we missed?
No, we're going to hang out for a little bit. So if you guys want to hang,
we're going to go upstairs.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.